Hey guys, I'm Josh. I'm a second year youth automation tech apprentice. Welcome to boot camp. What really got me interested in the industry is this might sound weird, but you see pictures of older generations working high in the sky, pure muscles, brute strength, everything like that. I think that's really fascinating, but they kind of think for themselves and work for themselves. And in a way, they kind of, even though it's company property, they make something for themselves with like machinery or whatever they work on to fix, and they can be proud of that. The classes that I took that helped me get interested was woodshop and materials and science of fabrication. Now, they both got me interested because you frequently have to use your hands in those classes and be like quick on your feet. You have to be a quick thinker in those classes, especially if something goes wrong. You got to know what to do and how to fix it quickly. A day in my life would be wake up, go to school for about 3 hours or so, and either I head to my youth apprenticeship class or I just walk to work. Work for about another 3 to 4 hours if I want to do overtime. Then I just head home, take a nap, take a shower, do my homework, chill out, eat dinner, and then go to sleep. I feel like to be ready to work and go to school every day, you have to have a good attitude to start with. Because being quite frank, this isn't easy work. And for some people, it can be very hard rotating between work and school and work. But attitude plays a big part. And you also have to be on top of things, specifically your homework. Because if you fall behind, and then let's say you have a hard day at work, and then you don't want to do your homework, then it just keeps on stockpiling and adding up, and that's the last thing you want. So a huge project that we worked on my company was we created giant metal beams and a platform above those so we could start storing hops and actually storing hops under the beams and create a ladder for people to, to safely navigate up and down. We worked on a die which scrambles the hops and works and helps to pelletize them. We have removed a whole factory line and have had to put it back in. And that was something else, It took a while. One thing that class prepared me for was taking apart the huge die, which is attached to the mill. That was a hefty process. And specifically the tools that we used in class, really it put me right on to it so I could just go right away, do what I had to do, get back. And we also used things like grinding metal and welding to repairing the metal, also at my workplace frequently. So reporting your hours to AJAC is so important because number one, you don't want a company to overwork you, and number two, you don't want a company to underwork you. So having that communication between your workplace and the people who are in charge of you working, it leads to a healthy balance of work. So another reason why reporting your hours is so important is because if you want that raise, you have to hit 1,000 hours. And then if you don't do it, then that's no raise, no extra money, no extra things to buy. My apprenticeship classes help me by number one, I learn about the tools that I'm going to use at work. And number two, it teaches me about what a work life should be. And my teacher constantly shows me how a boss should act and if my boss is acting appropriate towards me as an apprentice. So before I joined the AJAC class, I really did not know any tools whatsoever. And if I went to work without that knowledge, then that could put me in a bad spot, especially if a machine broke and it had to be immediately fixed. So I learned, I didn't even know what a flathead was. I just thought everything was screwdriver, And I was thinking, well, plus or minus screwdriver. But it's a good thing that class taught me those things. showing up on time is extremely important. Of course, it's understandable to be late 1 or 2 days, things happen to people. But if you do show up late, you should try and notify your supervisor and stay on top of things. And taking vacation days is of course common, everyone does it, there's no biggie. And if you know you're going to miss days, also contact your supervisor about that. And most likely they'll understand. And if something ends up happening almost immediately, you don't really have time to notify work, just again call your supervisor. If it's serious, they'll understand. If you continue to show up late to work, you'll get fired. It's really important to show up to class on time and regularly, because you don't want to miss something in class that you have to end up doing at work and you do it in an unsafe manner. Plus, this class counts as a school grade, so you don't want to get a bad grade. To gain respect in the workplace, it's not a hard thing as long as you're not a jerk to everyone. You just show up on time and act like every other person. And small important things in the workplace that still show, your work ethic would be, for example, like cleaning the shop. It's important to clean the shop because then you're a clean worker and you don't leave a mess, and it shows that you can get things done in an efficient manner and do them properly. A way of being proactive would be just, if you see somebody needing help, ask them if they need help. And if nobody needs help, then find yourself a job. There will be times, certainly, when you're working and it'll feel like there's nothing to do. Well, keep yourself busy and sweep the floor, or pick up that trash, or take out the garbage. It's very small things that can help people respect you at work. One major challenge that I faced at my workplace was the first time that I got there. I felt like I kept on messing up, which makes sense because I've never done these things before that my employers are wanting me to do. But over time, you'll realize that they understand this. And at one point, they were just like you, and they didn't understand what to do. So, that's a good thing. The reason I believe people drop the program are really two things. Work is too hard, or they just didn't expect what was going to happen. And for the first one, if you can't handle hard work, then simply don't sign up for the program. And for the second one, if you find yourself doing something in a different scenario than what you imagined, just stay through for the first year. See how you enjoy it, see how you like it, and then there's no pressure on rejoining the second year. One disagreement we had at work was not really a disagreement, but a continual series of this one bloke just making fun of everyone. I was trying to tell this guy, like, hey, you just be a bit nicer, like have a little bit more respect for others than yourself, because he was also a little self-demeaning of his character. He was like, oh, I can't do that, I can't change, blah, 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 blah. And then people just started, cracking jokes back at him, and it ended up getting really funny. My boss, Larry, he asked my boss, like, how do they hire people around here? And then Larry was like, I don't know why they hired you. And I was like, oh, wow, Larry, that's crazy. And he would often do things that were quite rude to other people, like make fun of somebody's height or whatever. And one of my coworkers would always come up to me, ask like, hey, Josh, are you okay? In reality, if you want to allow somebody to bother you, then they bother you. But their words don't have any power to the extent that you let them have power. And it's also okay because he got fired later, so that's all right, yeah. Three major people that I've looked up to in my work have been Will, Simone, and Larry. They've really taught me what it means to work hard, and they also never complain. But if something happens that could be seen as wrong or irregular in the work, they'll talk to somebody to see how things can get fixed or how to get things done. And they've showed me really the importance of just coming in every day and having a good attitude, because easily somebody in like Will or Simone's position could get called at 2 a.m. in the morning, and it would be easy to complain about that. but they don't. And somebody in Larry's position that has to manage everyone could easily complain, but he doesn't, and it ends up bringing a better attitude to the workplace. When I need help, I will constantly go to my teacher, Mr. Wedekin at YV Tech, or I'll go to the AJAC people like Bree or Tracy. They're very helpful. And if you're struggling at work, just talk with your supervisors and everything will get worked out. When COVID hit, AJAC was very on top of things. We got to switch to online learning. We got to continue learning, which many other apprenticeships did not have the opportunity of. And this also meant that I got to work at my own pace. Things that I recommend to be successful at school and at work would be good self-management. You can't handle things well if you're always flipping and flopping everywhere. You just kind of like burn out, you gain little energy, and then it makes everything so unenjoyable. So, stay on top of things. Stay on top of getting on work at time. Stay on top of your schoolwork. Stay on top of heading to school on time. And also just have really good communication with your teacher and work, and that'll lead to a great experience.